Goodbye.
We got, is it Stephen?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for holding.
No problem. I had a quick thing because I was actually online watching all the old shows and stuff, and there was I think it was you, Matt, and Russell were on the show doing a show about stupid atheists.
Foolish atheists.
Yeah.
Oh, foolish atheists. I'm sorry.
That was one of our more popular shows.
I'm sure some of them are stupid too, but foolish atheist was what we went with.
Oh yeah, just listening to that guy, just me beating my head against the walls.
Yeah, we keep getting email about that show in particular, and
we've gotten several hundred responses.
He who shall not be named on this program ever again has been getting emails as well, and despite his claim that he did it all as a joke or a test, an experiment to see if we would respond rationally, and of course his admission of this came after we received, 50 or so who disagreed with him. Now he is just taken to responding to people who send him emails with obscenities about, the atheist movement and this is ancient history and leave me alone. So if you're still watching, if you're somebody who's going through the archives and you've watched or are getting ready to watch the Foolish Atheist episode, there is no longer any need to email either us or the individual in question. But if you want to email him anyway, I'm not going to stop you.
Okay. Now, my question about the show is, I think it was mentioned that I think communists were supposed to be foolish atheists, and I was trying to figure out how that was. I think that's right, or how that worked, because communism isn't synonymous with atheism.
I can explain that.
I would appreciate it.
Back in the 50s, after World War II, there was this very strong tension between the United States and Russia. And there became kind of a propaganda sent about in the United States that we're not like those evil communists, those evil Russians, because let's grope around and find something. Oh, because we believe in God. So we are the theists and they are the godless communists. And so atheism and communism got to be strongly associated. And to be fair, the communists more or less stamped out religion as something that was sort of against the religion, if you will, of communism. And so they actually suppressed a lot of religions in a way of bringing up their dogma of communism. And so that's the path that they sort of took. And we took the path of, we're going to distinguish ourselves and call ourselves religious. And this is a time when we had the McCarthy scare. We had the motto on the U.S. motto becoming "In God We Trust." We had all sorts of things. We had the "Under God" added to the pledge. The big push on the Ten Commandments monuments. All this stuff was in response to this, and so many people who are familiar with this think, if you're an atheist, you must be a communist, or there's a strong association.
Right.
And if you talk with atheists who are in their 50s and 60s and 70s, it's interesting because they don't want to use that word atheist because of all this bad stigma associated with that. So it's very interesting to see that, the social phenomena, that these two get stuck together, and boy, if you're an atheist, you must be a pinko. And I think that was the genesis of that comment, is that yes, they might be atheists, but they're not atheists that we agree with.
We actually addressed this issue in an email discussion, or I did. I don't have the access to my email right now, so I won't bother boring you by reading what I wrote in response. But the thing about communism as to why it would qualify as foolish atheist is, and it's caused a lot of confusion, as Don pointed out, is that what they did was they essentially enforced an establishment of atheism by outlawing religion. This is not a secular society, and it's not truly an atheist society, because there's nothing within atheism to support this. This was an anti-religious society. I could never, anywhere, for any reason, support the banning, prohibiting of religion. I don't want to infringe on people's rights to follow the dictates of their conscience or to express and participate in their religious traditions. I want people to give up religion for rational reasons on their own. Outlawing and banning it is a bad idea. And it wasn't necessarily atheism that was the problem with communist Russia. It was the communism part, and not even just the communism. It was the corruption and the control that they tried to exert by saying, we're now an atheist state. I'm not going to try and do a Russian accent. Hey, if you're in Russia...
It'll be more like, we are now an atheist party. I'm sorry.
Which reminds me, if there's listeners in Russia, I don't think we've heard from Russia yet.
That's one of the countries we haven't heard from.
There's no problem with Russia.
Yeah.
But no, I was just, like I said, I was just looking back at it, and I think my issue is because of the current, political climate, I guess. People use scare words like communist, socialist, and stuff. And the thing is,
liberal's a scare word now.
Huh?
Liberal's a scare word now.
Yeah, liberal's a scare word. They're free thinker. Rationalist is a scare word.
Yeah.
But I was like, I've done this whole spiel online where I'm just arguing with people about the fact that, look, there's a difference between the USSR and what they were doing in actual communism, and difference, and and socialism, and all these things are like horribly different. So when I read and I heard that, I was like, okay, are they talking about the McCarthy era communism, or are they talking about Cherokee communism? Because Cherokee communism worked fine.
Yeah, okay. And it's one of the reasons why, and I had this conversation with a friend of mine earlier today, that I think I'm not a communist, I'm not a socialist, but I think that we've kind of gotten this knee-jerk reaction to those words where that's evil. Well, I don't know. There may be some ideas within communism or socialism that might actually be good ideas that would work in, for example, our representative republic or a democracy. So just because something is consistent with a political, economical, social structure that failed miserably and is bad when put in place all at once, doesn't mean that every aspect of it is bad, just as it doesn't mean that every aspect of democracy or republics are good or bad. I think we're a long way from figuring out exactly what will work best for everybody. I just hope we keep working towards it without
prejudice.
Yeah, or falling into fascist impositions, which was the problem. When you impose dictates on what people are supposedly allowed to believe, which is absurd because we're talking about what's in people's head. So really you're limiting their freedom to express what their beliefs are. It's not like, Russian citizens really all stopped believing. It's that the believers were, imposed upon you can no longer express this. Yeah. We had the guy who emailed us basically said something to the effect of, why don't you go live in Russia or Cuba and see how good it is to be in an atheist society? I got news for you. Those aren't atheist societies.
Yeah, they're not atheist societies. And
by the way,
societies either.
I'm not sure I want to live in an atheist society. I definitely don't want to live in one where it's imposed, or I wouldn't want to replace "In God We Trust" on our bills with "In Nothing We Trust" or "There is no God." I just want it removed. Get it out of there. Make it secular. Make it neutral with regard, so that everybody is free to practice what their beliefs are, to have their beliefs, to express them. It's absurd. The fact of the matter is,
let the best ideas win.
You want to point out an atheist state to show how well it works. There's never been one, but the closest ones are some European countries that are the majority atheist, and they have secular constitutions, they have secular governments, they beat out this great and wonderful country that I love in so many really important categories. Doesn't mean we need to necessarily emulate them, doesn't mean everything they've got's working. There is no atheist government. But secular governments, there are. And ours was established as one. It needs to constantly be protected, and everyone who cares about their freedoms needs to constantly strive to make sure that we're not only protecting the secularism we've got, but moving us back to the secularism that we should have had all along before some religious zealots decided that they needed to control what everybody else can do.
Yeah, the state religion won't be your religion.
All right. Thank you. I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. I'm going to go back to watching the old shows and let you get on with your show.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
for
Have a
calling.
good day. All right,
Appreciate
bye.
the call.